So then we are back with more understanding from the time of the second tabernacle services, where we find then the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage, so then we can understand the time of the end, per Mashiyach the prophet. Then we find the time of the restoration, and from the first recording of the spring feast, we find then the time of reduction. There is a situation going on with the time of the restoration. If the set apart people, the Abrahamic people, or from the Israelic lineage, they think they can scandalize themselves with being outside of the holy cities and then inside of the holy cities at the same time, and mesmerizing the people with their knowledge, they can best forget it. It won't work. We are speaking of the real city of the Mashiyach, when there is absolutely a hatred of the set apart before the world, as it was during the time of Mashiyach Shaul. If the set apart people, they think they can play around because thus far they were ignorant of the true understanding of the scripture, and when they begin to understand, if they think they can play around and faking up city of their own, where they can get the favor from the Creator versus the favor of the world at the same time, so they are in a very wrong path. It's going to be as the Creator wants. So let's make sure we understand. There is no new third temple. Let's make sure people understand why there is no temple. And there is not a third temple. What Israel is trying to do over there in that cursed piece of land thus far, because it has no tabernacle, it's cursed. No tabernacle, no salvation, and the land is cursed. What they are trying to do over there in that spit of land, a cursed piece of land, is coming up with their ideas of trying to come up with this ridiculous piece of junk of temple. It doesn't work. So if the world thinks they can kind of try to get a bit from the Holy Creator and then a bit from the world and try, to make amendments from both, best forget it, because it won't work. There is no third temple. When you read the understanding of Galah or Revelation, when Yohanan was given the stick to measure it, it was the holy city of the Creator in the new world. So then when the people, they have the wrong understanding, they think it is the third temple. It's not the third temple. And Yohanan was given the stick. Then Ezekiel was given the stick. Can you understand the distinction? Yohanan, what was the function of Yohanan? Was it not write down then, per the Mashiyach's instructions, the autumn feast? The autumn feast. So the layer of the holy city of the Creator yet coming is the layer of Isaiah, or then Yeshayahu, the 65th chapter, 66th chapter, gives you then the post age, or then this age goes away, starts the new world when it is then refurbished. So there is no third temple. But if they set apart, because they are ignorant, as Mashiyach Shaul said many times, as Yohanan said many times, Yohanan said there very precisely in Hebrews, you must have a teacher to teach you the basics of the oracles of Elohim. Why oracles of Elohim? Why does he use the plural name of God? Because it's related with the functions. Israel had come out of more than 1,000 years of the first holy service. Yohanan was explaining the second tabernacle services. You have to understand Elohim as functions. So Israel must have a teacher to teach them, because they are ignorant. They can't recognize even their own God. But then, as the Creator promised, even the heathen, he said, who would work for him. And boy, he truly meant what he said, and he said what he meant. There is no third temple. When we read in Ezekiel, and Ezekiel was given a stick to measure it, it was the new city of the Creator. That's the government of the Creator of the new world. The Ishmaelites, they are not going to let the people of Israel build any kind of a junky building over there. It's going to remain as it is. When the time comes, if they set apart, they are obedient to do what the Mashiyach told them to do, and establish tabernacle on the land of Kush. Mashiyach the prophet was very specific. During the time of the restoration, chapter 1:8 of Mashiyach pertains precisely to our time of restoration. The first holy city of the time of the restoration is the land of Kush. So the chapter 1:8 with the 61st chapter, those are layered together. The 38th chapter, 39th chapter of Ezekiel, you can layer with the 65th and 66th chapter already when the new world and the new capital is already built. So if they set apart, they think they can play around, a bit of the world, trying to come up with an idea of building a temple. The Creator does not want a temple. How can we stick this in their craniums? He doesn't want temple. The Mashiyach precisely said, I don't want this temple of yours. Not a stone is going to be left upon another. What he wants is obedience. Do what Moses told them to do and observe. So land of Kush is the place where the first tabernacle service of the second tabernacle services of the time of the restoration is going to be established. At the moment, what is required in nations understanding. Don't mix trade with religion. We've got shortly 36 months to get our taxation system in order. Don't mix religion with it. Because God is going to help us with our economy. No, He's not going to help us. The Mashiyach already said what to do. He said, during the time of restoration, during this time, chapter 1:8, what did he say? Come out of them, my people. He is explaining already in the future. When the system is then implemented, there is a system coming shortly in 36 months, and then it's going to unite the world of trade. No religion. This is what the people don't understand. Israel doesn't understand either. They are yet blind. They try to make their own world, their own kingdom. The Creator is not going to get near them. They have to do what Moses told them to do and observe. Completing the first tabernacle services along with the first, along with the second. So then during this time of restoration, the first and the second are then united. Israel does not understand. There is no third temple. So the uniting of the first with the second comes then the time of restoration. As they are obedient, there is an extra anointing coming. That's the second portion. If they are obedient to do what Moses told them to do and observe. And there is no third temple. This time is going to be what Moses told them to do. A tent on a desert. Simple tent as it was during the time of the desert. Later when the time comes, the Ishmaelites are going to let only what Moses told them to do and observe. If you don't think so, you are retarded. As the entire nation of Israel thus far, most of them are retarded. They don't understand the Creator. They don't understand their very own God. They are concocting theories of what would be like this God of theirs that was so marvelously involved in the past. They don't even know Him anymore. And they have mesmerized themselves with their crazy ideas, and then the world got mixed up with it, and then Daniel said that this lineage of Isaac would be mixed up with the world for a time. The time is gone. There is no more time of mixing with the world. A time for seclusion. Do what Moses told him to do and observe. Land of Kush. Establish the tabernacle in the land of Kush. Either they are smart and they do what Moses told them to do and observe, along with what the Mashiyach has said, or they are retarded. There is no half a term. The world without tabernacling is retarded by itself. Because when you understand the plan of salvation, we're talking about tabernacle. Tabernacle is a plan of salvation. If you try to understand the plan of salvation, no tabernacling, then you are retarded. The great prophet said, land of Kush, tabernacling. Time of restoration, the first holy city of the time of the restoration, the land of Kush. Where the first relationship of the second son is going to establish a relationship with the first son. The first son is going to observe the holy city, how they do the relationship with the Creator and the God of Ibrahim. Elohim. Yohanan said, Hebrews 5. But it is required then a teacher to teach the people the first principles of the oracles of Elohim. He did not say Yahweh. He said Elohim is plural. The word of knowledge, the word of wisdom, and their miracles, and so on and so forth, the 7 of them. 7 spirits of Elohim, 7 functions. The Creator is not going to get mixed up with the temple, with any other junk other than what He established. We are preparing this time for the autumn feast. If you don't understand, then you are retarded. Spring feast was completed. The Mashiyach had taken over the Holy of Holies. He stayed with it until 1009. 1009, then the city was destroyed, tomb destroyed, and then a time of deceit. Ended in 2009. Instantly we've entered the time of the dragon. The time of then, when you understand tabernacling, time of restoration of the holy cities laid waste for many centuries. Preparing for the autumn feast. If you think you can make this world a comfortable place for you, where you can raise your family and be contented with the world as it is without tabernacling, you are from the category where the Mashiyach explained, at the end the time expires and they're going to be burned with the rest of them. You, your grandmother, your kids, your grandkids, the entire works, they're going to be burned as chaff. That's why the Mashiyach, be conscientious with the cares of the world. Make sure you have the Mashiyach's understanding first, then your family. Because the Mashiyach was saying, if tabernacling is not established, the rest of it is lost. Don't think that the Catholic system with the Jews are going to be able to make some sort of a sense out of it. Both of them are retarded. The Creator said tabernacling. The Mashiyach said tabernacling. Ruach HaKodesh said tabernacling. Do tabernacling. The holy site on the land of Kush must be found. Then the rocks over there on the desert of Israel with those sandals, that they carved, must be brought to the land of Kush. Then when the perimeter is found, those rocks must be around. That's the reason why those people, those Hebraic people, were carving around sandals. When Nahashatan is going through in front of the earth, the time he observes this rock with the sandals over there, he steps back. He can't enter the holy city. So let's understand holy city on the land of Kush. Whatsoever Moses said to do and observe, word by word, by word, every understanding of it. Then the set apart are engaged to start up the holy city as it was. The rest of the world, they have to work in their taxation. When the time comes, then the Ishmaelites are going to take over. We understand the kingdom of the east is China, kingdom of the north is Soviet Union, kingdom of the south is Africa. Comes a time where the Ishmaelites are going to take over. Because they have crude. Crude and freighters, they work hand to hand. In the Ishmaelites, they have the most crude. Therefore, the Ishmaelites rule. And they have a code of ethics learned from Ibrahim. Then it is balanced with the second son's tabernacling. Thus the world gets balanced. Then when the time comes, Israel establishes tabernacle in Jerusalem, and then comes the autumn feast. If you don't understand this simple step-by-step understanding, then you are absolutely retarded. There is no church. There is no pastor, teachers, evangelists, and then miracle workers of their own kind of gifts of the Spirit. It was concocted. There is tabernacling, and there is not tabernacling. We've got 36 months to get our government lined up with the freighters. Instant taxation system. There is no mixture with religion in it. The Mashiyach said purely, straightforwardly, freighters of the earth. Pure trade. There is no religion mixed with it. Later, during the development of the sounds of the shofar in conjunction with the cups, then comes the understanding of Babylon and tabernacling. As far as this trade is concerned, there is no religion in it. So are the Jews trying to come up with an idea of building a temple for whom? For the bats, for rats, cats, or dogs? The Creator does not want temple. The Catholic system is done. They are done. Their God doesn't exist. What they can teach is merely work ethics. Teaching people how to be responsible. At the moment, China is in charge. Then comes the Kingdom of the North shortly later, providing natural gas and petroleum to China in exchange for being the planners. Kingdom of the South does not even have a king yet. We don't know who's going to be the next pharaoh. Yohanan ben Zechariah said very precisely, he was endowed with understanding from heaven, and he was preparing the way for the Mashiyach. Because he was then baptizing the people, then some of the people of the law became jealous because of what he was doing. And they tried to do what Yohanan was trying to do. You know what Yohanan said? They can do this themselves. They have to have an understanding from heaven to enlighten the people as per the instructions given by Moses. What Yohanan said, what they are doing means nothing. So this crazy idea of, mesmerizing over there and trying to come up with, the Jews and then the Catholic system, hand to hand, working together, and it's not going to work. Both of them retarded. One of them because they worship a God that does not exist. The other because they are trying to manipulate the existing God.